Good morning, everybody. Wednesday morning. Welcome to another Living Freestyle Game Dev AMA live stream. We are here twice a week. We do this Sunday nights and Wednesday mornings. Trying to cover a couple of different time zones and stuff, and work this like office hours. I hang out. If people have some questions about game dev or Unreal Engine or anything like that, hop in, ask some questions. I went back through all of our old streams. I didn't see any questions in any of our old streams. We did have a bunch of questions during our last couple streams, or our last stream, which was great. And in the absence of any questions, I'm just building my own game. So since we don't have any questions in the chat already, and we don't have any questions from our last streams, we're doing what we always do, which is we're stumbling through cool stuff. Because I work in game dev professionally, and there's a lot of cool stuff I don't get to do at the day job. So right now, the cool stuff that we're working on is we are working on combination of enemy AI and gameplay ability systems and things like that. But today we're going to take a look at enemy shielding, health bars, and stuff like that. So let's hop into Unreal. Go ahead and bring up our screen. Make sure we're actually streaming our screen. It's helpful, very helpful. Okay. Also, let me just double check our levels real quick. Make sure nothing's too crazy. Okay, so last time I was looking at some stuff with our enemy ability tree, and just kind of their health bar and stuff like that, and I thought it would be nice to put in the idea of shields. But the way that this is implemented, it was code based. And just as a quick recap, when I was looking into this, there was underneath the damage, where is it? Here's our health component, damage execution. So underneath our damage execution, there was this one line, which was damage done, okay? And so damage done was based on a bunch of attributes, and this is all in code. And I didn't really want to go through this in the stream. So what I did was, offline, I kind of went through and figured out how to add a new attribute set for shielding. And so you can see here what I've added. This is just a quick recap, so we don't bore everybody to death with code. But not that code's boring for my engineer friends. It's just, it can be very complicated. All right, so here's our damage done. And then what we've added is, we've added this attribute called current shield. And so if we have a current shield, what we're doing after the fact is we're checking to see if the current shield is larger than the damage done. And if it is, then we're basically setting our damage done to 0. We're adjusting our shield attribute by the amount of damage. And if it's not, then what we're doing is we are taking away our current shield, and then we're updating our damage done by the amount of, but we're basically taking away our current shield, and we're updating our damage done to subtract off the shielding that was done, and then we're updating our damage done like we were before. So, in order to do this, I guess the trick or the thing that I found was in the Lyra attribute set. This is kind of, I read this text, which is what kind of clued me off to how to do this. Thank you, Unreal, for putting code comments in. That's super helpful. You can see here that, but basically this is just a macro where if you define this thing, it's going to define these major functions. So if you create an attribute assessor called health, it's going to create game health, get health, set health, and init health. I was like, oh, is it that simple? That's all I have to do? Is in the top of our, I believe it's our health component that this was happening in? No, it was our health set. Where's our health set? Lyra health set. Let's see if it's in here. Here it is. So in the top of our health set, we had these assessors. There's health, max health, and healing. And I was like, wait, all I have to do is add one of these called shield and I get all those functions for free? Yeah, wasn't that easy. You'll notice that I did do that. I did also create, basically everywhere where I had health stuff, I kind of mirrored shield stuff. Excuse me, just as a general heads up. So I went through and added in all this stuff, and the result of all of that work is I now have functions in Blueprint that allow me to basically get health information. So let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at our blueprints here. Shooter, this is gonna be our shooter mannequin, I believe. So enter a shooter mannequin. Okay. So what I added was in, so now there is a function called on shield change. Okay. And what I'm doing with that, you can see here, like basically I just right click now, you'll see that there's a get shield component. There's a get shield, there's a get shield function for our health component. And then also if we select the health component, if we could find it. I'm actually not seeing, here it is, health component. You'll notice that in addition to the previous events that we had, we now also have, so here's our original on health and on max shield. Now there's also an on shield change listed here, which is what we updated. So by doing that, I'm now printing what our current shield is when it comes through here, when I shoot a character. So let's just go ahead and see what that does. Okay, so now when I shoot this dude, you'll notice that over in the top left, it's super hard to see because it's red, but it said 32. And you'll also notice the damage above the dude's head was 0. So there's 14. Now that means he's out of shield, and so now I'm gonna start doing damage, right? So, and also our shield is 0. Now, it might be easier to see here if I can stand in front of this bullet. There we go. So he's not actually doing damage to me, because I have shields as well. But after I got that first shield off, now my health is starting to go down. Those headshots are pretty strong. It looks like they're worth, headshots 70 to 34 is 66, I believe. So headshots are worth a pretty good chunk. But so now you can see our shield is actually working. We got all those attributes in there, and that's cool. The thing that I'm thinking is, there's a couple of things about this that make it hard for me as a player to understand what's happening here. When I shoot these guys, actually there's a bunch of things. Let's kill this dude. So, oh, he spawned over here. Alright, when I shoot this guy now, he takes damage. So for some reason our shield is not resetting on respawn. So that's one thing we want to fix. The other thing that we want to fix is, notice when I spawn, notice how my health in the bottom left says 100, but when I get shot it kicks up to 200. I'm going to show you what's going on with that. It's a pretty interesting thing in the way that health bar is set up. But when I come back here now and I shoot this dude, what was going on there? It's interesting. Can't get around that box. Alright. When I shoot them, you know, 0 popping up above their head, not super useful. What would be great to know from a player standpoint is what, you know, how much shield do they have? Like, how strong is this character? I'd also kind of like to know, I think it'd be great if maybe we could give the enemies health bars for some visual feedback. So let's hop in and fix a couple of these things. Okay, so where should we start? Let's start with the health bar. So let's just do a search for health widget. That should bring up our health bar. Okay. Now, when we're looking at this health bar, there's a couple things in the graph. You know, for those that don't know or have never looked at UI, and interestingly enough, I hadn't even looked at UI for a long time. I've learned a lot about it because I actually work in R&D. A lot of times we don't have all the help we need, so you get the chance to stumble through a lot of stuff at work sometimes too. And I spent a bunch of time working with UI, which was actually a lot of fun. But the way the UI stuff works in Unreal, or at least part of it, is with these widgets, there's the visual part of it, which you kind of handle in the designer, and then there's the kind of visual blueprinting stuff, scripting part of it, which is part of the graph. So up here in the top right, you have your designer and your graph. And the way this works is you'll notice, like, see these bar glows and fills and everything over here? In the designer, if I click on bar fill, you'll notice in the top right, this checkbox is marked as is variable. So anything I create over here that I check as is variable is now available to me as a variable inside the graph. So that is just a super fast recap of how that works. It's fun stuff to get into this. Now, here's what happens here. When our pawn gets possessed, we can kind of step through this. We're going to do initialize the bar visuals. We're going to, and if the possessed change, we're going to go through, we're going to check for valid health components. We're going to unbind events, rebind events. We're going to stop animations. And again, we're going to initialize our health bars visuals. So what's happening inside our health bar visuals? This is interesting because what they're doing here is, what is this mid? When I first looked at this mid, I had no idea what it was. This is a material instance dynamic. So what they're doing is they're using material instances to update a scalar parameter on the material that makes it look like the health bar is going up and down, as well as interpolating values and things like that. So with that, let's go back and take a look at why we have 200 health when we start. We changed it. Okay, we know we changed it. We did that in code, but for some reason when we start, we're only looking at 100. See the 100 in the bottom left there of my health bar? So there's a couple possibilities for that. One is health bar is a normalized value right now. Okay, so that's one option. Well, the thing about that is, if it's normalized after I take my first hit, why does it all of a sudden jump up? So let me show you what I'm talking about. Right now I'm at 100. If I get hit, oh, I have a shield too, hold on. There we go, see, it jumps to 178. So if it's normalized, it's not always normalized. So there's something weird about it. This, by the way, is actually really cool lighting. I'm just looking at that. That just looks cool. All right. Anyways, let's escape out of that. We should make that the visual for this one. Okay, so here's where the problem comes in. We have normalized health being used as our initialization variables, but then down here in the health changed, we're using actual old values and new values, none of which are normalized. So rather than trying to go through and figure out how to normalize all of this stuff, and also for other reasons, we're gonna just shortcut this real quick. Rather than using the normalized health, we're just gonna get the health. Alright, and we'll feed this in here instead. Now, I'm gonna leave this here temporarily as a reminder that I made this change. The reason to potentially use normalized health is your health bar just might get, like, let's say for some reason you're using huge numbers, like 1,000, right? The number of notches in your health bar would be like completely unreadable, and stuff like that. But one of the other problems with a normalized health bar is if I do damage when you have 1,000, it may not look like anything's moving at all. I don't know. So I'm on the fence about this, but at least this should correct so that when we spawn, you'll notice that we have 20,000. Wait a second. We missed something. We can fix that. So if we come back here, and in our health bar, we go into our initialized bar visuals. This multiplier was here because a normalized health bar starts at 1, and they wanted there to be 100 notches in the health bar. So we're going to change that to 1, and now our health bar should be what it is. So when we start, you'll notice we have 200 health. That is helpful because now when I get shot, oh, I have a shield. You'll notice it just ticks straight down. It doesn't go from 100 to 200 and back down. So we fixed that little thing with the health bar, which is cool. Now, let's do something else. I think it would be useful to be able to visualize our shield. So let's kind of take a break from behavior trees and AI and stuff for a minute, and just to update our health bar visuals to, or whether it be our health bar or not, some way to reflect the amount of shielding we have. I think it's reasonable to put it on our health bar because when I'm curious about health, now whether or not we like our health bar where it is or anything like that, that's a whole other conversation to have, but at least when I'm looking at my health bar, it will be in one place. So let's do a little bit. Let's save this first. All right, let's go back to our designer. And I think what I'm going to do is just put a bar above the bar that's there for shield. Okay? So let's do this. We're just going to duplicate what we have. So this overlay, this horizontal box, okay, and an overlay. Let's wrap this. Let's take this overlay. This is one of the cool things that I found just by accident as I was doing AI. Not AI. We're not working on AI this morning. It's UI. Too many eyes. If you right-click on this overlay, you can do a wrap with, which is great. So you're not having to read parent and do stuff. So I'm gonna wrap this with the vertical box. Let me undo that. It did make it a little smaller. That's okay. That is probably because if we look at our vertical box, do we have any padding? No. We have a pivots, transforms, clipping. That's fine. Does this overlay have padding? Doesn't look like it. Interesting. Overlay, vertical box, tooltips, rendering opacity, transforms. I don't see any padding on this. So it's interesting that it changed size when I wrapped it. It's gonna be all right though. That's still not. I don't mind that size health bar. It's fine. Let's duplicate this. So now we have 2. Notice they're stacking, which is cool. So let's go into the health one and just start renaming stuff, and deleting stuff. Okay, so we don't need, that's not the second one. Wait, which one's the duplicate? This is the duplicate. So what I want to do is I want to move this up. Yeah, cool. Okay, and we don't want the numbers in the duplicate. And we can get rid of, should we keep Barglow? Let's call Barglow. We're gonna rename some of these. This is going to be Barglow Shield, so that it's useful. And this is gonna be Barfill Shield. And then Bar Border. Do we need the border? Do we need the border? What does it look like without the border? Let's just turn it off for now. We'll see what it looks like. And then we don't need the text for eliminated. And I don't think we need the shadow. Background blur. I don't know if that added anything. Oh, I see. Yeah, we'll keep the black background blur. Okay. Now, what we've got is our health bar and our shield bar now. Still not done, because one of the things that I don't like about this is the shield bar is equally as important visually as the health bar, which I don't need that. I just want it to be there. And we'll go top of line, size is fill. There we go. Is that gonna work? Auto fill. It looks like this is not stretching to fit, which is interesting. So let's try some. We can kind of see it, but we're not seeing the middle of the bar here. Let's see here. And what I don't know is I don't know if it's because it's an alignment thing. So if we go fill with a top alignment, and this horizontal box, I want to be top aligned. This overlay. These bar borders. And bar glow. Taking out the bar glow just temporarily. Yeah, I can't see that. I don't see it at all. Padding. Oh, interesting. There's padding in here. There we go. We had some padding in there that was causing that to show up. Okay. Okay. We're making progress. We can make this half of that. That should be cool. And then what we want to do is, so it's definitely smaller. It's not quite visually as crazy, but let's take a look at, this is going to be the bar border for the shield. I don't know why this is a variable though. We'll have to see what it's been used for. But let's at least name it something nice. Okay, so that gives us all of the pieces for a shield. If we play now, you'll notice that we have a shield bar on top. It's not too, oh, I just got something in my eye. It's not too distracting. You know, technically it could be smaller. I think visually we need to make it something different than the health bar, so it's clear, but we'll do that now. So let's go back to our health bar. And I remember what I said earlier. This is done using material instance dynamics. So they have a material in here that's being used called material instance UI health bar fill. Well, if we go look at this, where is it? Material instance UI health bar fill. So this is all under all content. Okay. I think I'm okay with making a new one here. For now. You know, there's the whole, do we want to do this as part of the plugin or is this part of the base set? So let's duplicate this. All right, and this is gonna be shield bar. I'm actually gonna stay with Unreal's naming convention here for consistency. And then let's edit this material. Okay, and let's make, we're not gonna worry about the healing fill. Oh yeah, yes we are. Let's change this. Let's make our shield healing purple. Okay. Healing highlight. This is a nice blue. And then our health fill, which remember is not health fill. There's a little bit of a naming thing because we're hijacking this. And I'll show you something here in a second that's scary but cool. All right, so we're going to be using the health fill attribute, and for the shield, what color should we make our shield? Maybe blue? Well, our health is blue. You know what? I think we should keep the shield as blue, and I think we should update our health to be green. I know that's very usual. No, the reason I don't want green is because I want green to be able to show the healing. All right, we'll keep that like that. We'll keep that like that. Okay. Let's. Sure, let's just make it something different right now. Highlight, I'm not gonna worry about. Sharpness is fine. All right, now what? Let's change these default values. Just so we can easily see the difference between the shield on this screen. And then damage fill. Okay, so rather than yellow. Okay. Let's go pink. Sure. Okay. Great. Let's see here. That's all of that. Highlight sharpness. Negative pixel widths. Interesting. These are all our densities and notch positions, sharpnesses, and stuff like that. We can adjust these in a second. Let's plug this in because I also want to show you something. All right, so this is our shield bar, and let's use shield. Yikes. Shield bar fill. Cool. So now our shield bar actually looks different than our health bar. Alright, if it takes damage, it's going to be the red, and as it fills, it'll be that pink, and then it's just like kind of like a blue. Now, there's some interesting things about that. I don't know if we can adjust this live. Let's see if this will work. If we change this, it does. It just sweet. It adjusts lives. So this is our okay. Trying to make sure that both of these are on the screen. Okay. So I'm just gonna do this visually. Let's find some cool values. So this is the, let's make this bigger. Let's make this smaller. Okay, so the health bar, the health fill, let's make that, yeah, we can do that. Okay, and let's increase our alpha. Okay, we'll just make it so it's a little bit darker. Okay, cool. And then, what does it look like if it's white? You know, white might work. Yellow? Red? No, we don't want red. Pink's too close to red. I think, let's just go with white. Alright, and then healing highlight, we can make super bright blue, and then this is the damage to it. We'll make that a nice bright pink. Okay. And that red section is the glow, I believe. Which is actually a different material. So we're not gonna worry about that. But let's take a look at some of these things. Notch, no health opacity. I think we can knock our opacity down to 0. I don't think we need notches in our shield. Notch brightness. Interesting. Offset transitions. Highlight density, highlight scale. Sharpness. Notch, no health. Notch brightness, 0, 1, 0. Okay, that gets rid of all the notches. That'll work. Let's just see something. Notch sharpness. Oh, that does it too. And notch thickness. Okay, well I mean that's good to know for future. But we're just gonna go with no notches in the shield bar. We don't need any more visual distractions. I wish there was a way I could turn down Unreal. Was that was Lyra? Oh, we'll find out a way to turn down the Lyra audio later. Okay, cool. So at this point, the material for the shield is there. It looks good. Now we just gotta connect it all. So. And also, let's replace the bar glow, the shield glow. Wait, what? Bar glow, shield. Okay. So now that we've done that, now actually before we do that, let me show you one other thing. Okay. And actually one other thing I want to look at too. Their shield glow or their health glow. Oh, they do have a separate material for the glow. Let's duplicate this. and we'll call it shield glow. Shield bar glow. Get rid of that. Let's open this up, and let's just pop this to nice bright blue. Okay. Everything else we can keep the same. There shouldn't be any notches or anything in that. So when we come back to this, we can set our shield glow to be our shield glow. Okay, cool. So compile and save, just so we're all up to speed. And now we can go back to what I was gonna discuss. So here's the trick. Another way to do this shield would have been to have the shield value as an overlay on top of the actual health bar. So basically filling up from left to right with another bar or another material option. And one way I could do that is I could just, let me take that song, I gotta take that song out of rotation. So one way to do that would be as just another UI element that's on top of this one. That might work, and actually we might be able to try that, right? And we could try that here in a second. The other way would be in the material that they're using to do this is much like they have glow and all these things, add in the idea that there's a shield value there. Let me show you why I did not do that, because it's crazy awesome. So basically this material is based off of the base health bar, and if we open up base health bar, great googly moogly Batman. Look at this. This is insane. This reminds me of when I would open up some of the materials for one of our VFX artists' work. Dude's like super brilliant. But there is so much going on in this health bar material that finding where to put the shield in here, it's a lot. It's a lot to take in. Now, I believe it's pretty straightforward once you wrap your head around it, because basically all in this section here, again, great with comments and stuff like that, you know, you can kind of stumble through to figure it out. So basically the way this is set up is all these are used to generate masks based on the input values. And you can see here we have our current health, which is where it's feeding in. That's the other thing that's hard to find in here. It's in materials. Unlike blueprints, finding the values, if I wanted to find all uses of health current, it can be hard to do. So far, I haven't really found a cool way to do that, I don't believe. Anyway, so I had to hunt around to find this. This health current feeds in a couple places. This all gets dumped down through a bunch of stuff and finally into a mask. So there's a current mask and an updated mask. And then up here in our bar colors, you'll notice that we have our current and our updated mask. And those all feed into this, basically all these lerpings that all happens to go into the final color. And then all of our notching is border outline color, border outline, bright outline. Notches is all being done here. So to try to add this in as a part of this material might be a fun exercise someday, but for, you know, try not to get too distracted with it. You know, there's arguments to be made about which way you do this, whether it's a full bar health or not. The other interesting thing is right now our shield value is uncapped. in the sense that you'll notice there is no max shield value. I did that on purpose for right now, because what if I decided that, you know, you could get over shield and stuff like that. How am I going to visualize that? What am I going to do with it? And so I think all we're going to do is we're going to basically take a shield value, and well, it's going to depend. It's going to depend on how important shields are and stuff like that. But for now, I think it's just easier to have this either on top, or, as I said, we could place this on top of the current bar and just have it override it. But this is fine. Visually, this is fine. It serves our purpose. So let's go back into our graph. And all we want to do is, when we initialize our bar visuals, we also need to get our shield visuals. So if we go ahead and find where this is being set. So here's where we set our dynamic material instances. What we want to do is we want to do these same things. So for our bar shield, bar fill, bar glow, let's get our bar glow shield and get our bar fill shield. And what we're going to do is basically this exact same stuff, where we're going to get the dynamic material. The bar shield. And we're going to get the dynamic material for the bar glow. And then we're going to, I also think I would probably change these names, because bar fill versus bar fill shield, it'd just be easier if bar was short for health bar, and then this was just, rather than being called bar glow shield, it was just glow shield and fill shield. Anyways, so then we need two more variables. This one's going to be our shield fill material instance dynamic. Let's duplicate this one, and this is going to be our shield glow material instance dynamic, and then we're going to set these values, both of them. Okay, so this dude, I'm gonna set this dude. We're gonna set this dude. And then this dude's gonna feed in here. And then now we have our dynamic materials to work with. All right, let's see if they're setting these anywhere else. They are not, which is cool. And so that's where it's actually being used. This is in our initialized bar. So in our initialized bar now, let's set, we're gonna do this exact same stuff. Okay? And the difference is we're gonna do this with the shield values. So get this. We'll feed these in. Both of these. All right. And then rather than normalized health from our health component. Oh, interesting. They're doing that as a variable. So we need a new variable. We're going to call it shield. Let's just do this. Let's do this shield new value, and and shield old value. Old value. And then, sure, let's just make a normalized shield as well. The reason we may actually do this is because if we have 1,000 for our shield, that's a whole lot of notches. So we may need to change the way that we think about that. So rather than feeding in, actually sure, let's feed in our normalized shield into this. And values are 1. That's all fine and good. Let's go back to our event graph. Health changed. Okay. So this health changed is what's being called. Now, the question is this being called when our shield changes too? And I don't know that it is, because it might be. We'll have to take a look. There's 2 ways we can find this. We can either do a search for references to that call, or we can just test it in game, put a breakpoint on it, and see what happens. So let's try that first. Okay. Nope, did not trigger, because my health didn't change. There we go, then my health changed. So here's the thing. If we bring up our debugging tools, blueprint debugger, this will maybe show us in the call stack. Who called this? Weapon fire. Really? That is not what I was expecting. Interesting. We may have a different issue here. Let's stop this. Health changed is a custom event. Let's find all references to this. Oh, it's being bound. Okay. So they're creating an event from the health component, and they're binding to that. Okay. So we need to do a little more work in here for this to connect up. So this is okay, hold on. When the pawn gets possessed, the first thing it does is this is on the change. Interesting. Initialize bar visuals. Okay, got it. So construction basically links it to this. Okay, and then in here, what's going to happen is from the old pawn, we're going to get the health component. If it's valid, we're going to unbind this custom event. We're going to unbind all the animation. We're going to stop the animation and do all that stuff. Okay, cool. And if it's not valid, we're not going to unbind. We're just going to stop all the animation. Okay, that makes sense. I got it. All right, I'm with you. Okay, and then the event that we're binding is a custom event that. So then the next step, what we're going to do is we're going to create this event, and if the health component is valid, we're going to bind event to on health change. The event we're binding is this creating custom event, setting normalize, da 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 da. All right, so let's add a pin. All right, and what we're going to do is valid. We're just going to mirror this exact same stuff. Okay, but we're gonna do it for the shield. Okay, and if it is valid, we're going to bind event. Okay, that's not gonna work. We need to drag from here. Bind event. Whoops, can't spell bind. Event. Alright, so here's some events that we have to work with. We have bind event to death, bind event to health change. Look at that. We did enough work in the code where we do have a bind event to health to shield change, which is cool. Alright, so we're going to bind event to shield change. And we're going to, just like we did here, sure, we'll set our normalized shield. Let's set this. I'm not. Oh, interesting. We're initializing the bar visuals twice if we do this. I want to move this. I'm gonna move this so we don't end up doing that. There's a danger in moving it though. Okay, hold on. Let's see what happens. If I just take this and move this down to happen every time, right? The danger in moving this down here. The good thing about this is I don't have to worry about calling it twice or anything like that. The bad thing about it is what happens in here if we initialize these and our health bar component isn't valid. Well, we can fix that. We can fix that super easy. We can just make another one of these. Control drag, so I don't have to go back up. Nice, very nice. And then we can get our health bar component, feed it in. So now I can do what I wanted to do, and I don't have to worry about it. I can worry about it triggering after the fact. Okay, and then from this, no, I didn't mean to click that. From this, I can get the shield value, which is not normalized. We should rename this variable. This is not normalized shield. This should just be shield. Let's rename shield. You know what? I don't even know that we even need it. Alright, well, let's just keep it for right now. Okay. So now we're getting our shield value. When we go into our initialize bar visuals, we're going to continue through. We're setting those values. We're taking our shield and multiplying it by 1, whatever the value is. Interesting. Hold up a second. If our value is 50, which is I believe what we start with, if I take the shield and I feed it in here, it's gonna feed in a value of 50. So our normalized shield, what is our normalized shield? In our start death, Lyra health set. Where is that? That's in our health component. So in our health component, we have get shield. I don't even know that we have a normalized shield. I don't think we do. Shield. On shield change. Handle shield. We don't even have a normalized shield. So let's just not pretend we have one. So let's just set the shield value instead. Make it actually what it is. And we'll delete the shield. Yes. And then in our initialize, we need to plug in our shield value. Okay. Now our shield value is 50. To start with. We don't even need this because this is health number. We do not need that. Okay, cool. So setting our values to 1. Da, 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 da. That's the initialize the bar. Okay. And then we update the health bar. So what happens when we update the health bar? Nothing. Interesting. That's wild. This is basically an unused function. Okay. Because they're using the health change instead. So what we need to do is we need to create an event. Create an event. Okay. And let's create a matching event. And this is going to be rename event to shield change. Okay. Now interestingly enough, much like we did here, we do need to unbind this one if this happens, just like we're doing up here. And minimize this. I think everybody's sleeping this morning. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to unbind event from shield change. And the event that we're going to unbind is this one. Okay, so we bound our event and we've set our shield value and so on. Now we just need to do work. All right, and the work we're going to do, I'm going to move these down. The work we're going to do is going to be basically everything we're doing over here. We're just going to duplicate all of this. And see what happens. We're not going to worry about the animation eliminated. So we're not going to do that. We can do the interpolation of values, setting the current values. Okay. Let's copy all of this and paste it down here. And then just go through one by one and replace these. So let's do Wait, where's our shield old value? Looks like we need one. Shield old value. So we're going to set that here. And we're going to set our shield new value here. These can go away. These can move down. Be made pretty. Okay. And then we're going to set not these parameters. We're going to set the shield ones instead. I'm sorry, material dynamics. So let's get this guy and this guy. And feed this in. We're going to, it's already 9, so we're gonna try to just get this connected real quick and then wrap this up. This may not work on our first try because, I mean, let's be real. Everything always works on the first try, doesn't it? So let me just get this in real quick because I do have to actually go to the day job. Shield old value. So we'll replace that. And then shield new value. We'll replace that. Okay. These stay health because remember we're using the health material instances. Reset animated state. Interesting. This may do something weird. What does this do? Oh. Okay, we're gonna have to make a glow one of these. So let's this is happening in the graph, right? It is. Event graph. So for the glow, alright, whatever, we'll just leave that in there. Let's get shield new value. And what we're going to do is just steal these. And then let's get the shield old value. Steal these. Health number. Get the target value. What is this? What is health number? Okay, this is gonna be interesting because we don't even have a health number or shield number. If we go back to our designer, the health number is here. If we get the value, okay, I didn't want to have to wrap my head around this logic, but now I got to. So if our health number is equal to the new value, right? And our new value is equal to the old value, then that's true. So it's not going to do anything. And if it's false, we're going to do something. So I think all we need to do is this. Because we're not worried about our health numbers. Okay. So then what's going to happen is these are going to go away. This is going to be a miracle if this works. Okay. Greater than or equal to, float on damage on healed. I'm not sure. These are widget animations. I have no idea if those are going to work. And then we're not going to set the health number, and we're not going to interpolate the value. Okay, so this is all on shield changed. This could, wow. We're going to do two things real quick. All right, moment before we wrap up today's session. Do we even have a shield bar? We do. It has stuff. Oh, dude, it changed. I can't believe it changed. Did you see that? Holy cow. Okay, like, okay, it doesn't totally work, but it kind of works. Come on, buddy. Hit me. You are a terrible shot. Okay, so I no longer have shield. Okay, so it kind of works. All right, so let's just take the win. I'm gonna save everything. Cool. And let's go ahead and wrap up for today. It kind of works. Not totally works. There's some issues with the animations and things like that in the UI component widget. That's not going to be a problem. We expected that. We didn't even look at the animations that were playing in the UI. So a couple things, we need to make sure that the animations are playing okay, and then we'll go ahead and we'll fix it so that that it actually goes to 0. Because right now, even though there's no shield, it's still showing the damage highlight. So we gotta figure that out, and that could be part of the animations. And then the thing that we didn't get to today, because it just took for a while, was adding health bars to our enemies. So I think next time, or depends if I work ahead or not, but the next thing we're gonna try to do is excuse me, add health bars to our enemies, and fix the last little bit of our shield overlay display, which will be cool. I hope everybody has an awesome rest of your week. And as always, if you have questions that you want us to look at or stumble through together, throw those in the comments down below, and I will catch you all on the next one.